at this moment so that, you guys can come back and refer to this kind of walkthrough that I'm going to do in our ONE Suite tool. So again, ONE Suite is our CRM. I know not every agent at the firm is using it as a full-on CRM, but even if you aren't, there are some neat tools in there that you can still incorporate in your business. One of the things I'm going to talk about at the next training is automating things so that, you're not constantly having to think of ways to keep in touch with your sphere. Let's just automate it so that you've already set it up and the systems are doing it for you. So what I'm going to do now is share my ONE Suite screen. And everybody let me know that you can see what I'm doing. I think you can. Okay, so one thing to accomplish the report that I'm going to set up today for a client is you do need to have their contact added to ONE Suite. They do need to be a contact in your ONE Suite. Very easy to add your contacts in there. You're just going to go to contacts and you're going to create a new contact and just make sure that whomever you're setting this report up for has been added as a contact already. And the person I'm setting this report for is already in here. So we're just going to switch on over to client reports. There are several different types of reports that you can put clients on in ONE Suite. There's descriptions of these different kinds of reports in the resource guide and in the trainings on ONE Suite. I'm not going to go over all the details of all the different reports, but you would think that what I'm trying to do today is I'm trying to take my past buyer clients, and as soon as they close on a property, I want to set them up on this automated kind of neighborhood report or area report. Basically, it's going to send them this report once a quarter, so about every 90 days, and it's going to be letting them know what has been happening in their neighborhood as far as sales. And the reason I'm sending them this report is so that they can, remain on top of the knowing about what's happening in their neighborhood as far as pricing and days on market and all of those kinds of, things that they're going to be obviously very curious about now that they own a home in the neighborhood. So I do this for each buyer after they close on a property. It's part of my kind of after closing checklist. I set them up on this report. It takes about, once you get used to, creating the report, it takes about 5 minutes to do. And this report will continue to go out to them every 90 days until you cancel it, until you know that they're buying a new house and they've moved on somewhere else. It's going to keep going to them. I mean, of course, they have the option to, unsubscribe, as they do with anything we send out from ONE Suite. Hopefully they won't. And I think quarterly is, not too much to annoy somebody. So that's actually the longest you can set the report up for. You can't set it up to go out on any longer period of time, like 6 months or something like that. 90 days is the max time that you can set up these reports. The first thing I do want to point out is that any reports you send out from ONE Suite have a cover image. If you click over here on the left at report cover images, you can see some of the automatic images that the system already has in there for you. I have also added some of my own custom images in here for reports because I didn't really care for this image that was the system cover image. So if you're okay with that image to be at the top of your report, that's fine. But if you want to change it to a different look, you're going to have to come in here and create a new image for yourself. It just needs to be, a JPEG, and you can create a new report image. So I'm going to cancel out of here because I already have my image that I'm going to be. This is the image that's not this one. Sorry. This is the image that's going to be at the top of my report. Okay, next we're going to go down. Now, market reports sounds like what you would want to do for this buyer client, but market reports is really only reports that you can pull from certain zip codes which in this case is too large of an area because I'm trying to be more specific with this buyer. I want them to know what's happening in their neighborhood, or even if it's not their neighborhood, like a small radius around their neighborhood with like type properties. So you're actually not going to choose market report. You're going to choose property detail reports. And you can see here some of the reports that I've set up for past clients. You know, they're all going out. None of them, oh, luckily none of them have unsubscribed yet. So we're going to call that a win for today. So today I'm going to create a new report. So I'm going to click up here on new. Okay. I'm going to call this report. This is for one of my investor clients. And he owns actually a couple of homes in this community. He owns a couple of townhouses in this community called Willowmere, which is down here in South Charlotte. I'm going to set this up to go out to him every 90 days. I actually do copy myself on the report just as a, you know, reminder to myself that this client is receiving the report, and I take a look at it to see, you know, so I can also kind of keep on top of what's happening in that neighborhood. I do narrow down the number of listings it's going to send to them. You know, if it's a huge, I mean, I think 25 listings is probably more than enough for somebody to kind of get an idea of what's going on in their neighborhood. So I limit it to 25, and I do not put any expiration on when this report is going to stop going out. I'm going to make sure I find my contact that I'm attaching this to, and I'm going to add him right there. Now up here at criteria, this is where I'm going to edit the criteria that this report is going to be pulling from, that's going to be searching for. So I clicked there on edit the criteria. Some of you may not know this. We are a member, I believe now, of 8 different MLSs. Yes, I'm seeing 8 MLSs here. When you send reports from OneSuite, because your firm is a member of all 8 of these MLSs, you can send searches that pull from all of those MLSs. Now, you're not a member of those MLSs, but your firm is, and that's why the OneSuite is able to access all of the information from those MLSs. And so you're not going to get any kind of like specialized agent information that you would get as if you were a member of that MLS, but you're going to get like the public facing information that they would be able to find, you know, if they were searching online for a property. But this is all branded to you. Everything that's coming out from OneSuite is going to be branded to you. They're always going to be pushed back to you and your website. So, you know, this is kind of a lot better than them looking for these things on Realtor or Zillow or anything like that. For the purposes of this report, however, I am going to limit it to Canopy MLS. But there might be other reports you want to set up for people that they're looking for properties in other MLSs that we're a member of. So I'm going to skip over radius search. And I'm going to look at these options here. I do want them to receive the properties that are on the market, that are under contract. I definitely want them to see the properties that have closed. I am going to change this to 90 days because I am sending this report out every 90 days. So I just want to make sure they're seeing things that have closed in the last 90 days. You can limit the price, you know, of the properties if you'd like to do that as well. I'm not going to do that in this scenario. I want them to see everything that's closing. I'm going to switch all of these to 90 days. Okay, now here's your criteria that you might, you know, these are some of the criteria that we have access to in the MLS, but it's certainly not as comprehensive as an MLS search. There's not as many criteria for you to choose from. So, you know, if you're not finding the criteria that's going to help you pinpoint this search down to these folks' area or neighborhood, then you may have to do a map search or a radius search, just like you do in MLS. You might have to actually draw the map of the area that you want it to pull from. I believe in this neighborhood's case, because it's a larger neighborhood, it's going to be able to pull enough information from this specific subdivision. Again, you can narrow it by features. You can narrow it by schools. You could even send them only Realty One Group listings if you wanted to. Again, in this case, for this purpose, I would not want to do that. You can narrow it by the agent that's listed the property. I'm just going to narrow it by subdivision. Let's see how many properties that pulled me. I pressed the count button. Oh, I think I spelled it right. You have to spell it right or it's not going to find. Okay, that fixed it. I pressed count and it found 18 properties. So when I send this report to the client, this scenario today, they're going to receive 18 properties. Of course, 90 days later, it's going to be a different number, but for today, this is what they're going to see. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK. I'm happy with that. So now here's everything I filled in here. The every 90 days, I did the criteria. I've already got my client's name in there. Now here, if you'd like to see what the report looks like, we can press the preview button. Takes it a moment to pull it up for you. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to say here at the top. They have some choices here. They can print this report out if they want to, make an appointment with you, forward to somebody. It's got a map showing them where the properties are. Average list price, high, low. Trends over the last 12 months. How many properties have been on the market? So lots of good data here for them to see. And then we get into what they really want to see is the pictures, the sales prices. They can click on these individual pictures and it will then open up, you know, they can see all the pictures of the home. So yeah, there's the 18 properties that we found. Okay, so that's what the report looks like. It's going to come to them every 90 days and it's a set it and forget it kind of thing. I'm going to save that. My report is processing and we're done. And that's pretty much all there is to setting up those reports. Does anybody have any questions about what I did? We did record this, so we're going to send it out to everybody. But we're going to get into some more things, some more tools like this in the Don't Be a Fool, Use Your Tools training. It's on April Fool's Day. That's why we called it that. But any questions about what I did today or why you would use this report from anybody? Anybody might try setting up some of their past buyers on one of these reports? Maybe.
Hey, I have a quick question.
Oh, hey, Carlos.
I kind of missed a little bit of what you were showing on the screen, but you said something about being able to use 8 different MLSs. If I have a client in Greensboro, is there a way I can just search properties for them, not necessarily doing a report, but just searching property in their MLS
Yeah.
system? Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Any of the search tools in OneSuite. So you would probably want to put those folks on, I'm switching over to listing alerts, the listing alert option, because that's going to be like an automatic email that comes to them anytime a property matching their criteria comes on the market. Kind of like our MLS searches, same thing. But the difference here is that you could set them up on a triad MLS search. And it would send them things from Triad.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? You're welcome, Rachel. I hope you can use this in your biz. All right. Well, there's no other questions. That was just my mini share for today. I hope to see more of you on the next training on April 1st. It will be virtual like this. And we're going to be sharing some other things you can do with ONE Suite and some of the other tools in the Realty One suite of tools. So thanks for coming today, everybody. Trace and Heather, you guys look great in the office. I know looking sorry he's not there. Are you on, did you put your computer on the TV there? Like, are you hooked up to the TV? Oh, cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming, and we will see everybody super soon. Have a great, productive day, everybody. Bye-bye.